Hi everyone. So today we're going to be solving the week 7 math AMS quiz. It's actually really similar to last week's quiz, but so it shouldn't really be that hard. So let's start. So here they're giving you this equation and they're telling you solve the equation when a is equal to 3. So they told you a is 3. So let's substitute 3 in every time you see a. So I'm going to first write negative 2 into 3 minus x equals 3 into 3 minus 1. So now you know all your numbers only other than x. Let's distribute. Oh wait, by the way, I forgot radical sign here. Now let's let's multiply these things to get your full equation to use. So you have negative 6 minus x equals, of course, radical sign, equals 9 minus 1. Now we're gonna resimplify again. So you have negative 6 minus x equals 8. So now we know that the only way to get rid of a radical sign is by squaring both sides of your equation. So squared and squared. So squared with radical sign cancel out, so you're left with negative 6 minus x equals 64, because 8 squared is 64. And calculators are allowed, so if any number is squared, you don't know it, don't waste time on paper. Just do it straight on your calculator. So now we're gonna move this 6 to this side. So it's gonna be equal to negative x equals 70. And we know we want x. They're asking us for x. They're not asking us for negative x. So we have to make this x positive. We know by making this x positive, you have to divide by negative and divide by negative, which means you're going to get x equals to 70. And, sorry, negative 70. And that's your answer. And see, it's right. So that's how you solve the first question. Let's go on to the second. Okay, so this is grade 7 or grade 9 material, so we're gonna solve it. It shouldn't be hard. So let's look at our both denominators. First thing you need to do is figure out what's your least common denominator, your LCD. So in LCD, you need every little factor of the denominator written only once. So here you have an x minus 2 and a y, and this you have to distribute it. So what's x squared minus 4? 4 is 2 squared, right? So practically what you have here is x squared minus 2 squared, what looks a lot like a squared minus b squared, which we know last year is equal to a minus b into a plus b. Yeah, sorry about it being over the blue part, but I think you got what I mean. So if this is this, and this can be written as x minus 2 x plus 2. So look, here you have x minus 2 already, and here you have x minus 2. So you don't write the x minus 2 more than once. You only write least. So if it showed twice, write it once. X minus 2 is part of your LCD. Now here you have an x plus 2. Was it shown here? No, but you need it in your denominator. So you add the x plus 2 And then you have another thing that isn't, that's in your denominator here, y. So you have to add it. So now this is your least common denominator. I want to change the color white to red. So this is your LCD. Now we need to see what part, like what is each part of this, like this part and this part, what's it missing from this in their denominator. Here you have the x minus 2, check, and here you have the y, check. What's it missing? The x plus 2. So we have to multiply the numerator by x plus 2. So let's do it. xa into x plus 2 over this. Now, to save time, instead of writing this whole thing over your LCD, now you need to put the minus sign. Be careful, always make sure you put the minus sign, because then you later on you have to distribute this. Now let's look at B. What's it missing? It has the x plus 2, like check. It has the x minus 2, check. This is minus, this is plus, but it doesn't have the y, so we need to multiply the B on top with the y to get your full LCD, or like denominator. So by over your LCD. So now, since they both have the same denominator, they both have their least common denominator, we need to conjoin like these two parts on top. So it's a into x plus 2 2 minus by over, I'm going to rewrite our LCD. I'm not going to write it as LCD. So you know that this, you could rewrite it as this. Where is it? X squared plus 4. So here, they want it in that form, so we're going to put it x squared minus 4 times y. So that's your LCD, and this is what you have to look for in the numerator. Does this look like it? It's not, because here there's a minus, you need a plus. And either way, here you need to find y. First, look at the denominators and cancel out. First, you can't have this one because this is cubed and this is x. So this is definitely wrong, this is definitely wrong. Now here you have the correct, no, you have the wrong denominator also. It should be minus 4, not minus 2, so this is wrong, leaving you with this being the only correct answer. For questions that are from this year, I'm gonna explain them twice, or like go over how I explained them. But questions from last year, we shouldn't waste that much time on them either way. So y equals 3 over 4, x minus 12, and plus 55. They want you to write it in the form of x. So now you want the y in your equation, you don't want the x in your equation. So first, let's find anything you can move. Like 55, you can move it to the other side. So let's put them on the y side. Y minus 55, because you're moving it to the other side. Now you're left with this. So like now I'm going to erase this since we moved it already on our equation. You're left with 3 over 4 and x minus 12. Now we know, how do you want to get rid of the 3 over 4? You don't multiply it. You have to multiply it with the inverse. So this y minus 55 needs to be multiplied by 4 over 3. Just switch your fraction and you have to multiply it by that. And now you're left with x minus 12. You do not, like, see, now we're done with this part. Now x minus 12 equals y. If you had this and you wanted to rewrite it in the form of x only, what would you do with only this? What I like doing is like separating it into 3 different parts. The 55 first, the 3 over 4, what would you do if there was only 3 over 4, and what would you do if it's only x minus 12 equals y's? So what you have to do is move the 12 to the other side to the y. So now you're left with x, because it's alone, equals 4 over 3 y minus 55 plus 12. And that's it. Literally, that's all you have to do. So I'm gonna erase what I wrote on top of this to show you like the original equation. So what we did was to move this to the other side, we had to flip it. To move this to the other side, we had to change its sign. And to move this to the other side, we also had to change its sign. And yeah, there you go. See? You got the right answer. Now on to the next question. Okay, so here I heard that Tariq did it in a different way. I'm gonna show you a new way that I genuinely find way easier than the way Tariq did. But you do yourself. I might explain, I would explain both, but I don't really understand the other way. This way is way faster and easier, especially because we don't have that much time. So they gave you your function 4 plus 3x, and they told you the inverse of your function is f minus 1 equals 64. Pro tip, whenever you see a number here, just know that this equation equals this. So it's just 4 plus 3x equals 64. Like, just, that's it. Now we're gonna move your 4 to the other side. See? So you're gonna get 3x equals 64 minus 4. 3x equals 60. So we need to divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals 20. It's literally, that's it. That's how you get your 20. Now, yeah, literally that's it. Just do this whenever you see a number. If you see a letter, if you see x here, or if you see any letter, don't, there's a different way to do it. But whenever you see a number here, just do this. Just do this equation equals your number. That's it. See? X equals 20. That's it. So now we're gonna go to the next question. Again, whenever you see a number, make this equal to that number. That's literally how you do it. So let's solve this. X plus 1 over x minus 3 equals 3. So how do we solve this? First, we need to know that we cross multiply. So here there's nothing to cross multiply with, just 1. So we do 3 into x minus 3. This is an x. Equals x plus 1. So we need to make this bigger, like expand it. So it's 3x, or distribute it actually, but expand it. Minus 9 equals x plus 1. So now we need to move the x to this side and the 9 to this side. So you're going to be left with 3x minus x equals, 1. Okay, equals 1 plus 9. So 3x minus x is 2x equals 10. X is divide by 2, so x is 5. And see, it's 5. That's how you just do it. So, yeah. So now, what's your value of x when y is 1? They're telling you that your y is 1. They're telling you y equals 1. So 1 equals 2x plus 3 over x plus 4. So cross multiply again, but here you don't have to really cross multiply because anything multiplied by 1 is just itself. X plus 4 equals 2x plus 3. So now we're moving the x to this side and the 3 to that side. So let's do it. So it's 2x minus x equals 4 minus 3. Yeah, 4 minus 3. It's supposed to be 4. So you're left with x equals 1. And that's it. Your x is 1. So I'm just going to go over quickly what I did. You're just going to replace the y by whatever they told you y is. You're going to write your equation as normal. When it's a fraction, you have to cross multiply. So 1 times x plus 4 equals 2x plus 3. And then you're going to put like terms on on its side. So x's with x's, numbers with numbers. 2x minus x equals 4 minus 3. X equals 1. That's how you solve it for this question. Okay, so here you have to, again, it's the same thing, cross multiply. That's it. It's fractions equal to fractions. So the only way to do it is cross multiply. So 2 into 14 minus 2x. 2x equals to 3 into 4x minus 12. It's 12. So now you have 28 minus 4x equals 12x minus 36. Okay, that looks like a y. Let me fix it. It's an x. So now, again, like terms on each side. So you're going to get, moving forward here, you're going to get 12x plus 4x. I'm just going to write it down as 16x equals 28 plus 36, which when you do on your calculator, I'm going to really quickly do it, 28 plus 36, you're going to get equals to 64. Like, see? So 16x equals 64, so your x equals, just do it on your calculator really quickly, 64 divided by 16 is 4. Hala, what I like doing when I'm not sure of my answers at the end of your exam, if you still have the time, every time you have an answer where it's like x equals 4, substitute it here. So see, 14 minus 2 times 4 is 8, 14 minus 8 is 6, and 16 minus 12 is 4, which when you, after simplifying, you're going to get it equal to 3 over 2. If you get your same answer as here, خلاص, you did it right. You don't need to worry about your answer because it's 100% right. So I'm just going to quickly recap what I did. 3 multiplied by the denominator and 2 multiplied by the numerator from cross multiplying. Distribute it. So it's 28 minus 4x and 12 minus 36. Like terms on both sides, so this goes there and this goes here. And don't forget to change the sign when you move it to the other side, so you're going to be left with 16 equals 64, and then put it on your calculator, x equals 4. And see? Okay, next question. Okay, here we're starting with probabilities. So you have two spinners, A and B. Be careful in each question, read it well, make sure what spinner are they talking about in that part. So here in part A, but first, they showed you two spinners. They have the numbers 4 to 6. Now, spinner A is spun once. The probability that the number shown on it is not 6. Like, keep mental notes of these things. Like, keep a mental note that you're using spinner A. And keep a mental note that you do not want 6. Is expressed as this. What's the value of K? So what's your probability of getting 6? It's only 1 out of these 4, right? So the probability of getting 6 is 1 over 4. And your full probability is 4 over 4, which is 1. So 4 over 4 minus the probability of getting 6 minus gives you 3 over 4. That's literally it. You're done. Or, if you do not want to do all this, just look. You have 1 6. So what's the probability that count how many numbers you have that aren't 6. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's your answer. But yeah, that's literally your answer. That's how you solve it. Now let's look at part B. You're using spinner B now. I'm just gonna erase the screen so I don't mix up parts. Okay, so you're using spinner B. It's spun twice. The probability that the number shown is number 5 both times is expressed as this. So we know it's spun twice, and you want the number 5 both times on spinner B. So first we need to consider the first time. The first time you spin it, what's the probability that you're gonna get 5? It's 2 over 4. Right? Now, if you spin it again, what's the probability that you're gonna get 5 again? It's also 2 over 4. And since they're the same number, you multiply them by each other, which you're gonna get 4 over 16, which equals to 1 over 4. That's how you got your 1 answer. So again, if you have 2 times spinning, you could do your probability of the first time multiplied by the probability of the second time, which they're most likely going to be the same since the spinner is itself. The spinner doesn't change after you spin it. So yeah, 1 over 4, that's your answer. So now you have part C. Spinner A is spun 40 times. Spinner A, we need to make sure. Spinner A, 40 times. What's the best estimate that the number of times the result is 5? So let's look at spinner A. You spun it 40 times. And you know that each time you spin it, your probability of getting 5 is only 1 out of 4, because you only have 1 5. So this is your probability. If this is your probability for one time, it's your probability for all the times you're going to spin it. So if you have 40 times, and this is your probability for one time, 40 times your probability for one time. This is really easy. Cancel this with cancel this. This becomes 1, and this becomes 10. So your probability of getting a 5 after you spin it 40 times, you're probably only going to get 10. You're probably going to get 5 10 times only. So see, 10. We're right. Now we're gonna look at part D. At part D, it's telling you that Dan wants to spin the spinner B, the spinner, until he gets the number 6. So Dan does not want to see any number other than 6. And he wants to ask you, what's the probability that I'm gonna get this on the 4th trial? So you want spinner B, and we know Dan wants number 6, and he wants it on the 4th time he spins. Like 4th time. So okay, so we need to consider that the first 3 times he spun it is not right. We need to make sure that if he's getting it on the 4th trial, then his first 3 trials were wrong. So what's the chance that he does not get it on the first try or second try or third try? What's the chance he doesn't get it on the first try? It's 3 out of 4, right? Because he could only get 6 once. So the chance he doesn't, there's 1 out of 4 chance he gets 6. So the 3 out of 4 chance he doesn't get 6. So we need to do that 3 over 4 chance multiplied by itself 3 times, which is practically 3 over 4 cubed. Cubed. For the 3 times he does not get it. Then you have to multiply it by the chance of him getting it. So 1 over 4 is the chance he gets it. Since it's 4 times, you need to consider 3 of the times are not gotten and 1 of the times is gotten. Let's say this number here was 7. Then this would be 3 over 4 to the power of 6 times the chance he gets it. So there's always going to be a one-time chance on whatever spin he wants to get it on. That's going to be right. So if you just put this on your calculator, so 3 over 4 cubed, like put it on your calculator, don't try to solve. You're going to get mistakes or like human error. Times 1 over 4. We're going to get your answer to be equals to 27 over 256. Let's go back to our answers. See, you have 27 over 256. It's right. So let's look at your last part. Yeah. The spinners are each spun once, and the sum of the numbers of both spins are recorded. For here, you don't even need to look at the spinners. Just look at your table. And they said the sums. So you know here they're adding these numbers. So I'm going to personally complete the chart to make it a lot easier for myself. 4 plus 4, 8. And since this number is like this number, just copy it the same. So 8 and 9. Now 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 plus 5, 10. 5 plus 5 again is also 10. And 5 plus 6 is 11. Now 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 5 is 11. 6 plus 5 again is 11. Now we've completed our chart. We finished filling it out. I'm gonna look at what they want. That the sum is even. So it's either even and greater than 9. When you see that word and, it means that it has to be even and bigger than 9, both. You can't compromise on one. So I'm going to change the color to blue. Now let's erase anything that's less than 9 first. So it cannot be 8, cannot be 9, cannot be 9, could be 10. Cannot be 8, cannot be 9, cannot be 9, because 9 isn't less than 9. They didn't say greater than or equal to 9. Can't be 9, and yeah. Now you're left with all the things it could be that are greater than 9. Now you need to make sure they're even. So let's go back to our numbers and check. 10 is even, 10 is even, 10 is even, 10 is even, 11, not even, 11, not even, 11, not even. Now you need to see your values that are left. So these are both even and bigger than 9. So it's 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 12. So count how many yellow circles you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your answer. Now here, make sure, please do not forget to make sure that you actually have it over 16. So to make sure, you just multiply the number of numbers here times the numbers of numbers of here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 16 numbers here. But sometimes they like simplifying. So they could have put this over 8, then this number would have been 3. So always make sure that you have it over the correct denominator. Now, next question. Okay, here is what I'm telling you when you see a letter, not a number. When you see a letter, you have to substitute. Every time you see an X, put a Y. So it's really easy. I'm just going to change the color back to red. So negative 5 Y. It's not X anymore, it's now Y. Plus 2 over 3Y minus 1 is equal to X. Now, what we have to do here is, again, cross multiply. Half this exam is cross multiplying. So let's multiply X into this. So it's 3x y minus 1x, which you could write as just x, equals to negative 5y plus 2. So what you do here is you keep everything with a y on one side and everything without a y on the other. So This is with y and this is with y. This is without, this is without. So we're gonna move this. So you're gonna get 3x y minus 5y equals 2 plus x. So now we need to take our y into factor, because see, you have y both times. You could take it into a factor. So you're gonna be y equals 3x minus 5 equals 2 plus x. And we know that if you want to get rid of anything, you have to just divide by it. So, but on both sides. So this is 3x minus 5 over 3x minus 5. So now that you have this and this cancelled, you're left with 2 plus x. My x's look like y's. Oh my gosh. 2 plus x, which is the same as x plus 2, over 3x. Wait, I wrote something wrong. Minus x. Oh yeah, sorry guys. It's here. It's plus x plus 5. So this is plus, and this is plus. I just copied it wrong. So 3x plus 5. See? It's the same. So again, I'm gonna go over what I did. So you're gonna substitute every time you see an x with a y, and you're gonna equal it to x. Now you need to cross multiply. Here it's over 1. So 3xy minus x equals negative 5y plus 2. Now, when you're moving this here, and when you're moving this here, because you need the numbers on one side, and the numbers and x on one side, and the y's on one side. It doesn't matter that there's an x here. As long as there's a y, you need to keep it on a separate side. So 3xy plus 5y, don't do what I did and forget to change the sign, equals 2 plus x. Now you take whatever you have in common into a factor. So y here, you put it as a factor. 3x plus 5 equals 2 plus x. And then you must divide it by both sides because you want y alone. You want y equals 2 plus x equals 3x plus 5. So you want your y to be alone on this side. So that's what you just have to do. And that's it for this one. Okay, so here again, we're gonna try to do it again. If you want, what I do is I pause the video and try to solve it by myself, because the more you practice, the more you're gonna get better at it. So if you want, you could pause the video, try it by yourself, and then continue watching to see if you got it right. So again, every time you see an x, you're gonna do 3y plus 2, substitute it with y's, over y minus 7 equals x. So now you're gonna do cross multiply. So y x minus 7x equals 3y plus 2. Now we're gonna take y, we're gonna move all the y's on one side, and you're gonna move all the x's and numbers on the other. So y x plus minus 3y equals 7x plus 2. So now take y into your factor. Y equals x minus 3 equals 7x plus 2. Now you divide by x minus 3 on both sides. Now you cancel these two on this side. Now you're left with y equals 7x plus 2 over x minus 3. 7x plus 2 over x minus 3. Now to find this part, just see whatever makes the denominator 0, because you cannot have a 0 denominator. So here, if you do 3 minus 3, it's going to be 0, so x cannot be 3. Again, quick recap what I did. So you need to substitute every time you see an x with a y, and equal it to x. And then you cross multiply, and then you move x's on one side with numbers, and y's on one side. And so yx minus 3y equals 7x plus 2. Then you take your y as a factor, like factor it out, so it's y equals x minus 3, y into x minus 3, divided by both sides, and you get your answer. Now, next question. Consider the function g given by this. The domain is restricted. They want to restrict your domain. For this question, oops. I'm just gonna go back to the quiz. What question was I on? I think I was here. No, I wasn't here. Okay, yeah, I'm way after that. Yeah, here. So, yeah, I'm gonna move this to the side. So now, you have to just do one thing. Forget anything, just look at this part of your equation. Just look here. Whenever you see, you need to try to make this 0. So if there is a minus here, just take this number. Whatever this number is, just take it. If there's a plus here, take the negative of this number. That's it. So x minus 3, you take 3. If it was x plus 3, you do negative 3. That's the rules. That's it. Just, since here's a negative, just take 3. That's it. So, next question. Plot the graph. Okay, so for graphs, they're really easy. They're probably the easiest thing in your exam. When you see a graph, remove the x, remove the y, make your y your x-axis, and make your x-axis your y-axis. That's it. Now let's look. When your y is negative 1, what's your x? So your y is negative 1. Your x is 3. That's it. Just be careful, like, switch them. All you have to do. So now this is your new y-axis, and this is your new x-axis when they want the inverse. So, again, what's k? What's k when your y is negative 1? You go to your new y-axis, you go to negative 1, and you go up. It's on the point 3. So, yeah. That's it. Now, again, given the point, you need the inverse of g. So remove this, remove this. This is an x-axis now, and this is a y-axis now. You're gonna ban them from being what they actually are. So m minus 1. So when your y is negative 1, so you're gonna go to your y being negative 1, the new y. What's your x? You're gonna go up. Oh, my x is 2. Graphs, like I said, easiest thing in your exam. All you just need to do is switch the x and the y. Here again, there's a lot of these questions. You need to substitute every time you see an x with a y. 5 plus 2 over 9 y. So, again, equals x. Move anything with y on one side and move anything with a number or x on the other. So it's 2 over 9 y equals x minus 5. So now you need to get rid of this. We know to get rid of this, you have to multiply all of this by the inverse, which is 9 over 2. And if you're multiplying one side, so you have to multiply the other by 9 over 2. Oops. So now these two will cancel out, so now you're left with y equals this. But now we need to distribute the 9, so it's 9x minus 45 over 2. And there you have your answer. So again, what you did is just cancelled anything from the y side, moved any numbers with no variables to the x side, and multiplied the inverse on both sides. Now, next question. You need the inverse again, and it's x, so they didn't give you a number. So 3y plus 2 over y over 7, y minus 7, sorry, equals x. So cross multiply x, y minus 7x equals 3y plus 2. Now y is on one side and x's and numbers on the other. X, y minus 3y equals 7x plus 2. Take y into a factor. You're left with x minus 3 equals 7x plus 2. And then you're gonna divide by x minus 3 on both sides. You already probably know this because I repeated it like a million times. 7x plus 2 over x minus 3. And now you need to see what makes the denominator 0. 3 minus 3 equals 0, so your x cannot be 3. And there you have your answer. And yeah. Now we're back to probabilities. So they told you that there's biased dice. So dice. So the probability of obtaining sum is 12 is this, 11 is this, 10 is this, and 9 is this. So they want 9 or 10. The word or in probabilities is the same as saying plus. And the word and is the same as saying times. They're not going to ask you and in the exam, probably, but because you can't get, if you roll it once, you cannot get and just have it in your mind because we have a probability periodic that I'm going to be explaining later, and this is really important for it. So and is times or is plus. So you want 9 or 10. So you're going to look what's the chances of you getting 9 and what's the chances of you getting 10. Your chances of getting 9 are 4 over 36 plus 3 over 36, 7 over 36, and you're done. Now, please be careful. Don't do the same mistake I did in my exam last week. Make sure your denominators are same, because last week in the exam, they asked you over 18. They gave you all these numbers over 36 and they asked for your answer over 18. Now in this case, there's nothing you could do to simplify it and they want it over 36. In the exam, they're probably going to trick you and ask you to give you it over 18. So make sure you divide or you simplify to whatever denominator they want. So here it says they only want it over 36. Just put 7 as is and you're done with your answer. Now, next question. Okay, so you have a chess player. He's playing a game of chess, 2 games against a computer. So it's either he wins or he loses, right? So win or lose. The chances of him winning the first game is 0.6. And the chances of him losing are anything 1 minus 0.6, which is the rest, 0.4. That's the chances of him losing. Now he's going to play a second game. So again, he could either win the second game or lose it. Even if he loses the first one, he could either win or lose. So the chance he wins the second game is 0.8. Like the probability is 0.8. And here is 0.2. And this is probably the same. So now you're gonna see what's the probability of winning both games. So you want to look win, win. You look at what number gives you win. So 0.6 times 0.8. So 0.6 multiplied by 0.8 gives you 0.48. This, use your calculator for it, please. Now, what's the probability of losing both games? So here it's also, let me just write it, 0.8 and 0.2. This is a 0, it looks like a 6 for me, so I'm just gonna fix it. So what's the probability of losing both games? So what's the probability of lose? So we're gonna look 0.4 times 0.2. That's your probability of losing both games. 0.4 times 0.2. And that's gonna give you 0.08. Now, what's the probability of winning exactly one game? So it's either you could either win, like you're asking you what's the probability that you do win lose, or that you do, or like be careful what I showed you last example, or which means plus, lose win. You want one of these two probabilities. So the probability of winning exactly one game means win lose or lose win. So you're gonna do both. So what's win lose? It's 0.6 times 0.2. 0.6 times 0.2, or, which is plus, I'm just saying it's plus and I'm writing multiply, what the hell, plus lose win. So lose and win. So you lose and you win, which is 0.4 times win, which is 0.8. So you could just put this whole thing in your calculator, and when you do all of this in your calculator, you're gonna get that your answer is equal to 0.44. I would repeat how to solve this question, but later on I'm gonna be posting a whole video over probabilities, so this question is probably gonna show up again, because we have a periodic in this type of material this week, or well, next week, week 7. So 0.44. That's how you solve this question. Now we're gonna go on next questions. Okay, again, probabilities. So a game wheel is divided into 100 equal sectors. Each sector is marked with a number. So if you have one, there's a 30% chance you get one, two, and so on. What's the probability that your sector marked by a number larger than 10? So you just need to look at any number larger than 10 without 10, because it didn't say 10 or larger. So this is your section you're looking at, anything larger than 10. So these are what you're looking at. You don't look at this, the number marked larger than 10. So 20, 75, and 100 are larger than 10. So now we need to add all of these numbers together. So it's 10 plus 6 plus 1, which is 17 over 100. That's your probability of getting a number larger than 10. Now, next part. What's the probability that the event wheel stops at the sector marked by an even number? Just gonna scroll down a bit. Even number. So now cancel out all the odd numbers. This isn't odd. This is odd, sorry. It's not even. This isn't even. This is even. This is even. This isn't even. So now you need to add all the numbers that are even, or their probabilities, or like the frequencies. So you add 10 plus 20 plus 10 plus 1, which, quick math, 10, 10 is 20, 20 plus 20 is 40, and 40 plus 1 is 41, and it's over 100 because you have 100 equal sectors. So that's how you solve this part. And now third and last part. Sector marked by a number that's larger than 10 or even. So your number could be larger than 10, so all of these, or it could be even. So just without 5, because, and 1, because 2 is even, that's why you accept it. 10 is even, that's why you accept it. 20 is even and it's larger than 10, that's why you also accept it. 75 isn't even, but it's larger than 10, so you accept it. 100 is even and larger than 10. So you're gonna do 10 plus 20 plus 10 plus 6 plus 1, which 10 plus 20 is 30, 40, 40, and 6 plus 1 is 7. So you're gonna get 47 over 100. Let's see. 47 over 100. Now, next question. Okay, so this question, it's a bit confusing, but it's not that hard. So look, you have a ladder that's length is L meters, and the top end is leaning against a vertical wall, and the bottom end lies on the ground. So if the bottom of the ladder lies on the ground on this distance is 1.6 of 1.6, it's gonna lie completely flat. So couldn't you just say that this is just this plus this? So it's x plus this. So your line, when it lies flat, it's gonna be this part plus this part. But now you need to find the distance of this to get the distance of your line. What we're gonna do here, so wait, look. So all of this, 1.6, is L. 1.6 plus x equals L. Because, like I said, when you're lying the ladder flat, it's gonna equal to the L. Now here we have a triangle, so we could find x by Pythagorean theorem. So now we're not gonna write L. We know that the Pythagorean theorem is leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So let's write 4.8 squared plus x squared equals, we're not gonna write L squared because L is the same as 1.6 plus x. So we're gonna write 1.6 plus x squared. So now let's do this part. We know that some a squared plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab this isn't O, this is A, plus B squared. This is the same as this, so now let's do it. So on your calculators, I have mine in front of me. 4.8 squared is 23.04. 04. Now we need to find 2ab plus 2 times 4.8 times x. So 2 times 4.8, which is 9.6x. X plus x squared equals 1.6 plus x squared. Which again, it's the same as this, by the way. Wait. Oh my bad. I'm really sorry, guys. Wait, I did a mistake. Here it's wrong. You don't do a squared plus b squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Here you do that. For this part, since each part alone is squared, we don't do that. So it's the same, but remove the 9.6. I'm really sorry about that. Just a small mix-up. So here, just 23.04 plus x squared. Really sorry for the mix-up. Now here you do a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Whenever you see each number squared by itself, just square it by itself. And when you see a bracket squared, then you do it. So I'm really sorry, 1.6 squared. Sorry, 1.6 squared plus is 2.56 plus 2ab, which is 1.6 times 2, which is 3.2x. This question probably takes the longest time to solve in your exam, plus x squared. Now you could solve. Now since you have an x squared here and an x squared here, and they're on opposite sides, just cancel them out. We don't need any more x squareds. So they're both on both sides and they're the same coefficient, I guess, so you do not. Now you need to put x's, which is this, on one side and the numbers on the other. So 3.2x equals 2.56 minus 23.04. Minus 23.04. Actually, wait. There's a better thing to do. Just move this to the side and keep this on the side to make it easier for you guys. 3.2x is equal to 23.04 minus 2.56. Minus 2.56. Now we're gonna do this on our calculator. So I'm just gonna quickly do it. 23 minus 0.04 minus 2.456. You're gonna get here to be 20.48. Equals 3.2x. Now you divide this number by 3.2 on your calculator. So divide 3.2. You're gonna get 6.4. So x equals 6.4. Now after you solved all this, don't waste your time, like all your hard work on nothing. Know that this whole thing, L isn't 6.4. We know that L is x plus 1.6. So our x is 6.4. So L equals, this is L, 1.6 plus 6.4. So L equals 8. So since I mixed up a bit in this question, I'm going to re-explain it really fast on what I already did. So L is practically, when it's lying down, they told you it's all of this distance. And they already gave you in your given that this part is 1.6. And this is X. You named it X. You can name it whatever you want. So now that you know L is X plus 1.6, we need to find X to find L. So how do we find X? We do a Pythagorean theorem. Leg squared plus X plus other leg, which is X squared, equals hypotenuse, which is L squared. Now we're not going to write L because then we're going to have two variables. We're going to write what L actually is, which is 1.6 plus X. Now you do this alone and this alone. So 4.8 squared, which is this, plus X squared, which is this, gives you this, which is 2a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. This, do it. Now since we have X squared on both sides, on opposite sides, just cancel them out. You're left with 3.2x and these 23.04 minus 2.56. Now subtract these from each other. 20.48 equals 3.2x. Now when you solve it on your calculator, which is 20.48 divided by 3.2, you're going to find that x equals 6.4. Now, is that x is 6.4, and you know that all this is L, so L is 1.6 plus 6.4, which is 8. Now here all the solving might look really long to you. Trust me, it's not. It's really not. I could solve it in my exam in 2 minutes, if not less. You could solve it. It's really easy, actually. Just practice solving it at home. You're gonna get the hang of it and solve it in no time in the exam. Now, next question. We're almost done. We only have, 6 questions left? Perfect. Now this question, I really like it because it's honestly easy. Now here, look, you have this question and they told you that C and D are right angles. So if C and D are right angles and this is 60, this must be 30, which is just 90 minus 60. And if this is 30, then this must be 40. And now since you have this and this, we can find this because we know that all sides of a triangle must equal 180. So 30 plus 40 is 70. So 180 minus 70 is 110. So I'm gonna just and write it clearly. 1, 1, 0. This is 110. Now let's do this again. 35 plus 50 is 85. 180 minus 85 is gonna give you 95. So we can get that this is 95. Now what can you see you have in the middle? Here you have a small circle. They started it for you. They didn't finish it though. So, and we know that the circles are equal to 360. We need to add all this number. So 105 plus 95 plus 110 equals 360. Sorry, plus x, because we need x, equals 360. Once you add all these numbers in your calculator, you're gonna get 105 plus 110 plus 95 or 310. So the 310 plus x is 360. X equals 50. And that's how you get your x. So what you did is just use the fact that these two are right and find your rest angles, add all of these and subtract them from 360 to get this. And now this question. Okay, so this question isn't hard. It might look hard. It's not really not. By the way, this question, it came in different numbers in the exam and a lot of people didn't know how to solve it. If any of you still have the question or you know the numbers they gave us in the exam and you're sure of them, send them to me in the comments and I'll resolve the same question using the numbers that were given to us in last week's exam. Personally, I don't remember the numbers, but I'm gonna give you another question a lot of students got wrong, but at the end of the video. And because they might bring it again, you never know. Now let's look here. You have two triangles, and both of them you have two right triangles. This is right. So now we need to find this. So let's first look. They gave us this is your hypotenuse because it's opposite to the right angle, right? And this is your hypotenuse for the big triangle because it's opposite to your hypotenuse also. And these are similar triangles. Why are they similar? Because they're sitting inside of each other. So 4, which is the hypotenuse of small triangle, over hypotenuse of big triangle, which is 3 plus 5, that's 8, is similar to or equal to this leg over this leg. Because look, this leg is the one touching the right angle, this leg is also the one touching the right angle. So 3 over 4 plus x. Cross multiply, 24 equals 16 plus 4x. 24 minus 16 equals 8. Like now, 8 equals 4x. X equals 2. And that's how you get your answer as 2. This question is really easy. Like I said, if you remember the question, the numbers that came to us in the exam, write them in the comments. I'll solve the question again in a small video. Now, okay, so now we need to use our rules. Here we have a secant and a tangent. This is your secant, this is a tangent. When you have a secant and a tangent, know that small side, which is 8, times whole, actually I'm going to write the rules. Small side, small secant side, so small secant, times whole secant, w secant, equals tangent squared. This is how I memorize my rules. So small part of secant, which is 8, times your whole secant, which is 24 plus 8, which here is 32, 8 times 32, equals tangent squared, so x squared. Now 8 times 32 is 256. 256 equals x squared. Put it in your calculator, x equals radical 256. Which is 16. And that's how you solve this one. Now on to your next question. Here you have a secant and a secant. In secant, it's small section, small secant, times whole secant equals small secant times whole secant of the other secant. So ZR times ZP equals ZY times ZX. So now they gave us ZP, all of this is 18. And they gave us that ZR is 4. They gave us that ZY, they gave us that ZX, the whole thing is 12. Now they want small secant 2. So 4 times 18 equals x time, actually I'm going to name it something else because you have times and the x, they're going to get confused. Y times 12. Put this in your calculator, so 4 times 18 is 72 equals y times 12. So y equals 6. Once they're asking for the small secant, put whatever number you get out of your answer. But let's say this whole thing was 6, and you know that this is 3. Then you have to subtract the whole from the small secant. I'm not gonna say that again because I'm gonna show you what I mean like in the next question or like soon question. So that's just how you do it. Next question. Here it's tangent again, so I'm gonna rewrite the rule. Small secant times whole secant, which is 8 plus x, equals tangent squared, which is 12 squared. So 8 times 8 plus x equals 144. What I do is divide by 8, divide by 8. So 8 plus x, sorry, wait, what's that? 8 plus x equals 144 divided by 8, which is 18. So x equals 10. And x equals 10. That's how you solve this part. Now, next question. Okay, here's what I mean by the secant thing. So 10 small secant times whole thing, which is 10 plus 12. So 10 times 22 equals 11 into 11 plus x. X. I'd prefer if you don't really get this, do this way. I'm going to show you another way how you could solve this question, but I find that some people could get confused in it and get wrong answers. So 10 times 22 is 220 equals 11 minus 11 into 11 plus x. So 220 divided by 11 is 110. Wait, sorry. 20 divided by 11 is 20, sorry. So it's 20 equals 11 times x plus x. This is plus. Now 20 minus 11 is 9. Another way you could do this is 10 times 22. This doesn't change. Times 22 equals 11 times x. So 10 times 22, 220 equals 11 plus x. And then you get that 20 equals x. I'm going to name it y because if you name it x, it's going to be confusing because your variable is x. 20 plus y. And you know that y is the whole thing. So then that you do 20 minus 11. Some people like doing that better. I personally would say do this way because you can never get it wrong or you're never going to forget to subtract by 11 if you do it this way. If they're asking you for the whole line, do this way. If they're asking you for only the bigger part of the secant that isn't on the outside, do this way. So yeah. Now last question, intersecting chords. This is the easiest thing. This chord times this chord equals this chord times this chord. So 6 times 6 equals x times 9. And It's 36 equals x times 9. 9x equals 4. That's how you solve this question. That's practically it. Now, before I go, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna write down a question that came to us last week in the AMS, and many people left the exam not knowing how to solve it. So they gave us two parallel lines, and they told us they were parallel lines. And they gave us two lines that they're connecting like this. Or they didn't give us this line, or I honestly forgot, but I think that they told us this was, wait, let me check my numbers. 30. Yeah, so they told us this one was 35, and this was 45, and they were asking, and this here is x. They were asking you for x. Now, many students got this wrong. They're like, how are we supposed to get x? So I don't know if you noticed, but these two, if they're parallel lines, these angles are alternate interior angles. This angle and this angle form a pair. You see this angle with this angle, and this angle with this angle are alternate interior angles. And we know that alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this angle is 45, then this is 45. And that if this is 35, this is also 35. And we know that this is supposed to be straight lines, by the way, guys. Like, don't excuse my lines. And that these is parallel, or like this is an exterior angle of this triangle. So exterior angles of triangles are equal to the sum of the remote interior angles. So this angle is equal to 35 plus 45, which is equal to 80. And that's your answer. Another way you could have solved this, like this is way one. To find x, you could have just done 35 plus 45, which is 80, minus 180 to get this angle, which is 100. And then from 100, you use this as a linear pair to find x. So 100 minus 180 minus 100 is 80. Both ways work. Both ways were fast. This is just one question that came in our exam last week that I found a lot of people getting mistakes in it. So this is how you solve it. And yeah, I think we're done for today. Bye.